Brother. Hey, Ben.
Hey.
Tell me about this awesome podcast / radio show.
Watching from Ringside?
That one, yes.
Yes.
Where we do great impressions like... Now that you're going to do your Macho Man, okay.
Oh, ooh, yeah.
Or, I'll tell you what. What? Or, hey, baby. I can't do... I'm trying to do my Dustin.
Baby.
Hey, baby. How you doing, baby?
How you doing?
I'll tell you what, baby.
Wrestling, watching from Ringside. Is that you?
That's me, baby. Live and in living color.
Only on KXVS, baby, the voice of Stockton.
So people on the Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope land are tune in any way you want to because we are watching from Ringside.
All day, every day, only on Friday. And maybe Saturday, too. Sometimes on a Sunday, because, you know, they got them special shows. You know what I'm talking about, baby?
Stop stealing my gimmick. But, yeah. Ben, let's get into all seriousness. This is watching from Ringside, as we were talking about, is a pro wrestling show. With
the only pro wrestling show on KXVS.
Or in Stockton.
Or in Stockton, yes.
Yeah, come tell us if you're somebody else.
The premier podcast.
Yeah. The premier podcast of pro wrestling talk in the Central Valley is me and Ben, and it's fun. So we talk about the world of wrestling from our perspective and give you the latest going-ons of what's going on in the world of wrestling, right?
Yeah, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ring of Honor,
All In
NXT.
too.
Yeah, and All In,
which is brand new.
Brand spanking new.
So we're gonna
change the face of wrestling as we know it.
We're gonna break down all of that throughout, well, whenever we have a show. So I'll tell you what, Ben.
What?
Watching from Ringside Fridays on KXVS, the voice of Stockton. For Ben Sanchez, I'm Dustin Breakbuilding.
This is Darius Oliver, and you're listening to 92.1 KXVS, the voice of Stockton.
This broadcast will start in 60 seconds. This broadcast will start in 45 seconds. This broadcast will start in 30 seconds. This broadcast will start in 15 seconds. This broadcast will start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Voice of Stockton. For more information on The Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS The Voice of Stockton or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Welcome to Watching from Ringside. Dustin Breakbill and the one and only Ben Sanchez. Hey, Ben.
Hey. How's it going? What are you up to?
What are you up to?
Well, we're talking about wrestling. That's what we're up to.
Are we watching from Ringside, though?
We are.
Technically.
Technically, yeah.
Technically, there's a ring.
Yeah, there's no ring, but
there's no ring, but
yeah, we can. I've done it.
How's your week been?
It's been busy.
Yeah?
It's been a productive week. Challenge mode has got some big things this month.
Challenge mode.
Mm-hmm.
Other outlets
the
too.
other podcast. Yeah, that's really good. It's an entrepreneur show. You should check it out. It's also on KXVS.
Yeah, gonna have a motivational speaker, but it's not gonna be Mark Marrow or DDP.
No, it's not.
We're saving that for this show.
Yeah, that's
if you want to come on, Mark Marrow, Johnny B. Bad. That was a great gimmick. You can't lie though.
Yeah, no.
Dusty Rhodes made that gimmick.
Yeah. No, Dusty's had a handful and a lot of great.
Did you ever hear the story how Vince actually thought he was getting the Johnny B. Bad character when Mark Marrow signed with WWE, but WCW technically owned it, so he can bring it over?
Really?
Yeah. But so week's been good. Stretching.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the getting inside the ring.
Getting ready here. Yeah. How's your week been?
Interesting, actually. Very chill. Really relaxed.
Yeah. I heard you had a trip. You went to SAC.
I did go to SAC.
Yeah. How was that?
Fun.
Entertaining.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That store is huge. Third wheeling as always.
Third wheeling, baby.
I'm available.
Styling and profiling.
Slipping and sliding.
Yeah.
Dining with queens and queens.
Yeah.
On pork and beans.
And pork and beans, yeah.
Yeah. That's great, Dusty would say.
So what's going on this week? It's been a busy week in wrestling, right?
It has been, actually. You know what? It's been last week was quiet, but this week's kind of picked up a little bit. That's what we get in the world of wrestling. Brock Lesnar finally made an appearance on Raw.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which was hysterical. And
he's just kind of sitting in the back reading books.
Farmer magazines and hunting books and
just biding
having
his time.
him and get him food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and
let's get to it. Let's get to Monday Night
Raw.
Raw.
Right into Raw.
Brock Lesnar finally showed up. It was Miami. It was Monday Night Raw.
Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman. He was supposed to show up. It's been how many days since he hasn't been on Raw? Kurt Angle wasn't happy about it. Constable Corbin was there too.
So what's Constable Corbin's role in all this? He's just kind of hanging out with Kurt now, or
I guess he has to watch Kurt for Stephanie.
Yeah, he's like a bodyguard.
Yeah,
glorified bodyguard.
I don't know. This gimmick's weird. It's like Corporate Kane.
It's weird. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like a weird version of Corporate Kane, right?
What else is there that's going on? But let's get to Monday Night Raw. As I said, the big highlight of it was Brock Lesnar returning, and but this is a different Brock we haven't seen in a long time. This Brock actually talked. What do you make of Brock Lesnar actually cutting promos? Maybe his last month in WWE for a while.
Well, I mean, we kind of saw that as that unfolded on Raw, right? You know, he kind of started doing his own thing, getting on the mic a little bit more. Obviously, before that, you know, you had shared the news and we had all seen it that he made that appearance at UFC.
No shocker. He's been flirting with that for a while.
Yeah, he has. He's been teasing that for a good time. So maybe it's time to kind of move away from certain things, right? You know, we always can associate Brock as a Paul guy. He's a Heyman guy.
But he hasn't always been a Paul guy. Paul's always been around, but
yeah, but not always. But for the most part,
yeah.
Within that this last period of their run, and sort of before that too, and we've seen in every Paul Heyman video, they both kind of go together. They both have really good chemistry.
They get along,
and so now we're kind of seeing Brock, grab the mic, do his thing, and we saw that unfold with Paul Heyman.
Well, we saw with the whole backstage all night, kind of like they basically. Brock doesn't do TV spots. He doesn't do these pre-taped or live shots, but they use them. But he went along with it. He went with the comic relief kind of. You see him backstage. Hey, Paul, get me a sandwich. Reading a magazine. It's a farming magazine.
Yeah.
Since he does farm, he owns like a place in Canada, and he grew up on a farm. He reading a honey magazine also, I think, or something like that.
And of course, there's been like huge tweets out there,
and
right,
gifts.
where people Photoshop.
Yeah, what he's reading.
Oh, the best one is the Young Bucks. He's reading the Young Bucks coloring book, or it's children's book.
Yeah,
might be a coloring book, but I think it's a children's book. Yeah, that they wrote.
But let's go to the end of the night. Beginning of the show, Kurt comes out and says, "Brock better be out here at the end of the night." Then fast forward to later end of the night. Guess who shows up? Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman down the ramp to talk to Kurt Angle and Constable Corbin, Baron Corbin.
And that didn't go over too well.
Brock and Kurt, have history, friends and rivals.
Yeah.
Brock got into Kurt's face and basically said, "Try me," using some of those words.
Yeah.
And Kurt's like, "What?" And then
that was it.
Next
F5.
Week, yeah.
Bam.
F5, middle of the ring, Miami.
Corbin, you want some? Nope, he backed out.
Place explodes because Kurt and Brock, everybody knows Kurt and Brock, how they're competitive with each other.
Yeah, they had that match at SummerSlam.
And WrestleMania where they almost both died that night in Seattle. Shooting star press. And then
that looked pretty rough.
Kurt almost killed himself too. with how many taking all those bumps, those suplexes.
Yeah, but the interesting thing, of course, was after that, right?
Yeah, but after that,
because Paul was laughing.
Yeah, Paul was laughing, but the whole night there was the relationship between Paul and Brock was kind of like Brock was being demanding, which we've never really seen with Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the night, Brock pushes Paul down to the ground.
Yeah.
Then stands over him and
right?
grabs him and says, "No more, Paul." So basically.
Yeah.
And so what's that set up for the next couple of weeks before we get to SummerSlam and Roman Reigns and?
Yeah, I mean, well, and of course you never know, right? You never know who is going to do what in these contracts or what their contractual agreements are. And he's been teasing this UFC for a while. Could be time for a break overall and a break to move back or to do something else and do it without Paul this time.
Yeah, and we know the history with Paul in the front office. It's always been hectic.
Yeah. But of course, and if that does end up happening at SummerSlam, it's kind of like, where does that leave Paul, right?
What if we see a heel turn by Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman joins him? So,
yeah, because we were kind of teasing the thing is, if this leaves Paul Heyman in the wind, it's who would be
somebody that
a
could,
good character to align Paul Heyman with, right? And we really couldn't think of. I would rather see Paul Heyman align himself with a newer wrestler to give someone a push, right?
How about I'll throw this prediction out. I think Roman Reigns wins the championship finally at SummerSlam because Brock has to do the job. And
you think Paul will align with Roman, huh?
No, I think Paul's going to align with Dean Ambrose.
Oh, you think so?
And
that would really be an interesting thing, I think. But the hard thing is
the loose cannon meets the African.
Well, and it could work too because with the Paul and CM Punk thing.
That's what I'm getting at.
CM Punk was a great talker, right? He didn't really need Paul, only in certain scenarios, right? This could be the same thing because we all know Dean cuts a great promo.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting, Dean the lunatic with Paul Heyman and
Well, I don't know
against Roman.
Well, yeah, that's true. You can.
That's a storyline. Then who's who? Because everybody's expecting, it's going to be Bobby Lashley and Roman Reigns. But Bobby got pushed back this week, working with who he was working with. Elias, which I feel bad for Elias because I don't think he gets a fair push. That's another
I feel like
side subject.
Yeah, he kind of gets a little push and then it gets pulled back a bit.
And using him as a gimmick right now with the music and stuff like that. But he's a good wrestler. But I think. I don't know why I think Dean Ambrose, but I could see it happening, Paul and Dean, because we've all heard Dean's coming back at some point. We don't know when, but it's close.
Yeah, well, my dream scenario is always to make Dean a heel with Renee and have Renee be a heel manager. Oh, and I just want to see them both play heels and see where that could go.
But and then Monday Night Raw has been interesting. Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins. I don't know what they're gonna do with that. That's I don't know if they're gonna do a triple threat or because Dolph and Drew. It's interesting. Where does it leave them? Because what's Drew's pushing this? Is he just being the big bad Diesel guy?
Yeah,
Dolph Shawn.
I feel like that's kind of a retelling of. Everyone's kind of said that, right?
Yeah.
It's a retelling of the Shawn and Diesel thing.
And where's this put Seth after the SummerSlam?
And that's why I feel it's really interesting, right? I feel like you have such an amazing, athlete in Seth Rollins, and I feel like he's just kind of floundering right now.
And he's a babyface now.
Yeah, and he's a babyface, which is fine. I mean,
crowd loves him.
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen his work on both ends, and he's definitely. It's great to see Tyler Black, Seth Rollins come as far as he's come now. We always knew the athleticism was there, but it's great to see his mic work
and working with Dolph,
improve and it's great. He's totally trumped him in almost every promo, right?
Yeah, but Dolph is so underrated. I don't know. Everybody says he's underrated, but he's so good.
Yeah,
good promo work, wrestling work, all of it. But I don't know if you saw the tweet out this week. Somebody said, Seth Rollins got laid out in the back by Drew McIntyre and Dolph. And Dolph's hair was straightened, and somebody tweeted, "Hey, it looks like Jericho in 1999."
Yeah,
and
was he in a suit, a jacket?
It was
or
one of those old puffy shirts Jericho
Yeah,
wore
okay,
back in
yeah.
the day.
I was wondering if that was like
I'll show you
a
the
nod to
tweet
that.
later, but it was hilarious.
Yeah,
But
well, we can always link it on
But I don't know
thing.
what they're going to do with it because I really like Drew McIntyre right now. This is a different Drew McIntyre we saw when he from when he first came up.
Edgier Drew McIntyre,
Maybe.
or-
I don't
'cause
think
he's
he got enough run with the
got
NXT title.
more of a facial
And big,
hair
like his
going.
muscle, he's
Yeah.
bigger. Like
Yeah.
he was a lot more skinnier
Why
when he
don't you
first
give
came
him
in.
a call and ask him what he's been doing? He's been tanning. He's been working out more.
Well, he went to Impact for a while. Then
Yeah.
after he got released, then he did some indie stuff, I think. Then he went to NXT. He didn't really get a long run with the championship. He got called up right away. Now he's working with Dolph.
That was very short lived, but yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Also, on Monday Night Raw, I talked about Bobby Lashley's working with Elias. That's interesting after Bobby's big push with Roman. But
Yeah, that kind of got a backseat, huh?
But that was such a good match, to be honest. I wouldn't be upset in the future if it's Roman and Bobby. Bobby can't be a heel, though, because as Edge would put it, he smiles way too much.
And I totally agree with Edge on that because I think we've said that on a previous show, too, that Bobby just smiles way too much to even be considered
How can you
a
be
heel.
mad at a guy that smiles?
Can't be mad at that guy at all. Like with the promos that he cuts and as happy as he is whenever he's, smiling at the crowd. I was like, I can never see
There's
this
no
guy's a heel.
vicious streak in him.
No.
Yeah.
Not an
And take it from Edge. He's one of the best heels of all time.
I know. Yeah. And that's, rated R superstar.
Oh, he was so good. But that's a program they're working, I guess, right now because Elias has his CD coming out or album. Not CD.
Sure.
Do you even do CDs anymore?
No.
No, MP3.
His digital album.
On the network, he has a special out right now where he's singing some songs.
Yeah.
But he's working with them. B Team, that's interesting right now. They're working against the who are the B Team? The B Team was working against somebody this week. I'm just completely lost. Right now. Yeah, I'm blanking right now.
You're blanking.
It's Wyatt and Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
So the Woken Alliance.
Yeah, the Woken Alliance.
I guess that's what they call them or whatever.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun to watch again because Bo's hilarious and.
Yeah, I mean, it was a surprise when they won the belts. It'll just be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's a good little run for them.
Yeah.
They deserve it. They've been there for a while.
We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Then on the women's side, Ronda was back,
Yeah, Ronda's back.
but it wasn't against Mickie James. She attacked.
No.
She attacked Alicia Fox. Mickie James will be out for a while with a ankle injury.
Yeah, so we've got Alicia Fox stepping
Filling in, which Alicia's really good.
Yeah, Alicia's,
She's a good relief.
She is. I mean, it definitely is. The character's kind of evolved over time. But as far as wrestling goes, Alicia's always been a solid worker. I've seen her and Gail Kim go at it several
She's been there for a
times.
while, too.
Yeah, she's been there for a long time.
And she puts work in. She doesn't complain.
She's definitely one of those wrestlers,
veterans
those
now?
veteran underrated.
Yeah.
I feel like wrestlers. But yeah, so she's aligned herself with Alexa Bliss.
Which is actually pretty different from Mickie.
That
I
is.
think it's going to be interesting.
Of course, and she's got the little crazy streak still, so I don't know how Alexa's kind of handling that. You could see that in the promo, like, okay, whoa, this is a little too much.
But then Natty's, of course, on Ronda's side. So, but this week, next Monday night, Ronda makes her in-ring Raw debut against Alicia Fox.
Right, so that should be interesting. Of course, and it's good that Alicia's there because she's a veteran, like you said.
And
Definitely
don't
can
forget,
help.
about Nia Jax still involved in that little thing.
Yeah,
too.
I think Nia Jax is still around in that program, and of course we got Bailey and Sasha finally making up and teaming up, and
I don't know what's going on with that.
It's all hugs and semi kisses, I guess, in this up and down sister relationship and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I figure they couldn't do it forever, right?
Yeah.
Because Sasha just really her best work is her heel work, and
So
Bailey's she's another one that's just she's natural babyface.
Yeah, she's like John Cena.
Yeah, it's hard to take her.
See, when John Cena,
it's hard to be mad at her as a heel, right?
When John Cena first came up, he could do that because nobody knew who he was. He was a heel when he first came up. Ruthless aggression, the rapper gimmick, which he actually made his own.
Yeah.
Worked with The Undertaker, young John Cena for a while, and then worked with Kurt Angle, worked with Eddie Guerrero, all those guys.
Yeah.
But once they switched him to babyface, he never went back, and you could tell Bailey's just like everybody compares her to John Cena, but she's a babyface.
But yeah, no, she really is. I think that's just her best role. She embraces it so well. We've known her for that role for such a long time in NXT, and then when she came up to the main roster, yeah, I could see this coming down the road, because how long could you really drag that out for the two of them to just, it was kind of like a spat, right? Just like one of those relationship things, like, here's the little issues that we have. They're going to
Creative probably doesn't know what to do with them.
Yeah, and they're just like, all right, so now we'll make them friends and we'll do a tag team.
Try to do the Kane and Daniel Bryan gimmick. That didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at with them, and then we can jump probably over to SmackDown.
SmackDown, like the wrestling show.
Yeah, the wrestling show.
Not the entertainment show.
Not the entertainment show, the wrestling show. So there's a lot of cool stuff on here.
Well, let me start with the cool thing that happened this week. Have you signed the petition yet to make the new SmackDown broadcast team? There's a petition going around.
There's a petition?
Because they had their own commentary booth this week, this Tuesday.
I did see that, yeah, because they had a couple of tag teams out there.
So it's interesting.
That's when Sheamus and
the Bar's
Cesaro
back.
came. Yeah, they came back, so they had their own little booth out there, right?
Creative didn't have something for them for a while, so...
Well, this is cool because, the New Day is going to be checking in on these teams, right? Because they're gonna insert themselves back in. Because we haven't really seen them for a while. We saw the little stint from Sanity, but they just did that to get Sanity over, which is good.
Yeah, Eric Young is so good.
Yeah. That dude's completely underrated.
He's nuts too.
Yeah, he's nuts. Well, that's good. I actually am glad to see Eric Young doing something different.
Imagine Eric Young versus Dean Ambrose.
That would be interesting. That could be a feud down the road.
Okay, but
Dean's not on SmackDown.
I know, but going back to Sanity, they need some people to work with, and I guess New Day's there right now.
Yeah,
the Usos are there right now. The Bar's there.
Yeah, the Bar is back, so that's good. They can do that too. Yeah, so really the tag team division's there. The Usos had the match with Sheamus and Cesaro.
All those guys can work.
They all can work.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all great workers. I loved it because the Usos really reinvented themselves, right? Mm-hmm. They were, so many years ago, and now they're like this heel kind of.
Yeah, they had the face paint.
They had the face paint, and they were doing the cultural kind of thing.
Yeah, the Polynesian cultural thing.
And now they've kind of embraced the more heel hip hop thing. It's great.
I actually like it a lot,
and it's really good.
When they cut the music, they're like, cut the music.
And we don't really have enough heel tag teams, right? So they're perfect for this. The other standouts too. We've got Randy Orton coming back. So we have the amazing heel work from him.
Oh, man, can we say actually taking off a couple months is good for some of these superstars here and there?
Well, I think so, because, you need time to kind of re-energize, sit back. You can actually, probably it's nice because you can creatively think about other things you can do when you come back.
Yeah.
So, that's what I thought was awesome about Randy's promos. Everything he hit on was just very, very real, very natural for him.
Cut that promo.
Boy, it was
on
smooth.
Like every big person in the company. Mm-hmm. Brock Lesnar, John Cena.
Yeah, and so, this week he's harassing Jeff Hardy even more, rubbing off his face paint and, doing the whole thing with the ear.
His gauges,
Yeah, it was that was quite interesting.
And down there, Jeff's back there working with Randy. They're coming up with these concepts.
Oh, yeah.
And Jeff's okay with this.
Yeah, I know. It's great because it's, we know Jeff's kind of hurt.
Yeah.
So things like this.
He's limited.
Yeah, this is limited on what he can do. But this is great.
Story.
Yeah, it's helping develop the story. And
Shinsuke's in the story now, too.
Yeah, and Shinsuke is in the story, and it's like, I don't really know what the motivation is for Shinsuke. He's just kind of there at that point. Like, he kind of finished the storyline with AJ, then
nobody really to work with.
Had the quick win with Jeff Hardy. Now he's kind of in limbo.
Plus, he got bit by that dog, so that kind of dealt with
he's still probably
Jeff Hardy.
maybe dealing with the nagging injury there. But yeah, it's great to see this develop more because we clearly know why, the why Randy why now we know. So now we know the motivation behind it.
He gets no respect, as Ronnie Dangerfield would say.
Yeah, I'm number 9 on the SmackDown list.
And that's interesting because Raw 1000's coming up soon, so there's always returns on those shows. So I don't know, maybe The Rock and Randy Orton in the future.
Maybe
Legend Killer back.
Ooh, that could be interesting too.
But I'm not just throwing out. We'll get down there on the road. But yeah, this is an interesting feud right now, and I don't know what they're gonna do with Shinsuke and Jeff.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be a triple threat match, but they're going to have to do something with.
I hope not.
They have to get somebody for Shinsuke. I don't know who it's going to be, but they need to find somebody quick. Because can't work with Daniel Bryan, can't work with The Miz, can't work with who else? Samoa Joe's working with AJ. Rusev's on his own program right now, which I don't even know what they're doing with Aiden English and Lana. CN's working with them too. So.
Yeah, so we can talk a little bit about Joe and AJ. That story is developed, but I didn't really like.
I didn't like it.
I didn't really care for the I felt like the promo didn't really do anything this week. I mean, it's built up really well because Joe can really cut promos, but then he kind of went in a direction that I was
why
like,
would he throw the family in there? I don't like that as a promo. I get using family as a promo, but come on, everybody knows your history between AJ and Joe.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You know, it would have worked. It would have been nice for Joe to touch on the history of him and AJ, like to just like, hey, we've crossed paths before.
And Vince is okay with using TNA as a word now.
It's
on the network a lot now.
It is. It's popping up a lot more.
They're showing footage every time.
So, you know, creatively, obviously, we don't know. You kind of got ousted on those conference calls.
Yeah, I was ousted this week.
Yeah, so you're ousted on the creative end. But it would have been nice for Joe to be a part of, you know, to reference those things, right?
Well, we finally get to push Joe's Gideon. Like,
and
we want to see Joe.
This is what we want, right? This is exactly
since Joe came up.
These guys, I mean, they're going to put on a good match at SummerSlam.
It might not be the main event, which is probably not going to be because they never put AJ as the main event.
They never put AJ. It would be nice.
It'd be nice. He deserves it, but you know.
So this week it really just kind of was.
It was flop promo, and AJ probably got a week off because he has been traveling a lot.
Yeah, he has.
He's been promoting. He went to Australia a couple months ago with Carmella promoting.
Yeah,
the big match, a big thing in October that's going down there. The special they're doing down in Australia, but I don't know. AJ deserves some weeks here and there off, but. I don't know. I just don't like this promo with Samoa Joe sitting in the middle of the ring on a bar stool.
Yeah, I thought that was
with
kind
a towel.
Unusual too.
They gotta put him in a back room with the lights off. With the Taz gimmick.
I'm just so used to seeing Joe cut so many different promos, and this was really unusual.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have minded if he was just pacing back and forth with the towel, talking about some old matches or something where AJ screwed him over,
as I said last week on the podcast. Why does AJ get to be the one that didn't have to go to NXT? Something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. That would have been something too to play with. It's just, you know, again, we don't know, but this one, as far as the week goes, just kind of fell flat.
Come on, Road Dogg.
Yeah, I know. What's going on there? So, but really, that wasn't the highlight. The big highlight was. You know, Carmella and Becky, I think, for sure, on SmackDown. And I've seen that.
And it was the main event. They weren't in the main event this week.
I know, they weren't.
Actually, one of them was in the main event, but it was interesting.
Well, and of course, we had the Renee Young promo with Becky Lynch. And
Renee's so good at it.
Yeah.
She's like the new Mean Gene Okerlund.
Yeah, she really is. And of course, she's had that experience before. So, you know, her, interview skills is fantastic.
Yeah, she's interviewed celebrities, sports people in Canada.
She's done all kinds of stuff. So, you know, and it was cool because she really let Becky talk, and Becky really kind of went on the whole history of, hey, here's where I am. I've been fighting this whole time. I've been doing this.
I didn't get a fair shake as my first championship.
Didn't get a fair shake. It didn't get hadn't had any opportunities since then. Very much a very different type, like not a angry, aggressive Randy Orton kind of promo, but this was the more, of course, the babyface side of Becky, and of course the crowd's super behind it, right?
Yeah, they love her
because I honestly, and we were talking too just before we got in the booth that Becky's probably the biggest women's babyface right now.
Or could I even say the biggest babyface out of anybody in the company right now?
I can't say because NXT's got some great women baby faces.
But no, out of the men too.
But I would say
on the main roster.
On the main roster definitely.
Out of everybody everybody on the roster, men, women, anybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, I definitely say for SmackDown for sure. I think for Raw, I would even say for Raw too.
Yeah, Raw's.
Yeah, but I mean there are people that pop for. Still pop for Bayley and Sasha.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as like,
it goes her and AJ. This is a big two baby.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, company. AJ for sure. Yeah. How could you beat the phenomenal one as a baby face?
Everybody on Twitter saying Becky's the best baby face in the company.
At least for the women's, for sure, I would say that.
But yeah, back to this promo you were talking about.
So this promo is fantastic, right? So Becky kind of, elaborates on a lot of that. It's been, a really interesting journey for her. And she really kind of sums that up within a couple of minutes in the promo bit. And then, of course, we get Carmella to come out. And I saw the promo. I was like, man, this is probably I've only seen limited amounts of Carmella's work, but this is probably, like I told you, the best. I know you're a big Carmella fan.
No, she can cut a promo.
This was probably the best promo I've seen. Like, you know, and she played on all of it, right? Like, oh, you could have been there for me at NXT. They only said I was only ever going to be a manager. They said I would never. Yeah, and definitely she showed that
emotion.
And she showed that emotion.
Which is true. Like, they said she'd never be a champion.
Right. No, and that's exactly right. So that's great because that's all real. And so, you know, for her to express that in body, you know, in body language and communicating that to the audience. She did bring up
NXT. She said, you were the only 4 horsewoman there for me, one of them. I can go to, because in real life, everybody knows Bayley and Carmella are really good friends.
Yeah.
But Becky... She basically said, Becky, you were like the only one I could go to and
if you
get advice from.
If you think about the 4 horsewomen that came from NXT, Charlotte was the standout, right? Because the legacy and the
lineage,
name. And then Sasha Banks had a good following too, not because of Snoop Dogg, but mainly because of like her work and like the boss character. Like that came out of nowhere and it was like boom, it just kind of blew up.
Yeah.
And she had really fantastic heel work matches. Bayley was always the underrated one, right?
Yeah.
She was like
she's the worker.
She was the hard worker.
She was the Arn Anderson.
Yeah. And then so Becky was kind of just like she was like in between, right?
She's a Tully Blanchard.
Almost, huh? Really? Kind of.
Well, you got Ric Flair, Charlotte Flair, Arn Anderson. Probably Bayley could do it. Bayley can't cut a promo like Arn though.
Yeah,
Arn was underrated actually.
Yeah,
way
he
underrated.
Was way underrated.
The 4 Horsemen's always weird because you can go with Oli or it's you know the comp.
Yeah,
but then Sasha. She could cut a promo, and then Becky could be Tully Blanchard, underrated and never really got the credit.
And probably like one of the better technical wrestlers out of the 4 of them. I would say Becky's probably the best technical wrestler out of the 4 of them.
And she's been doing it since she was a teenager.
And then it's great to see her develop the promo skills over that span of time. So I just think that Carmella brought the best out of that and played with those scenarios from NXT and brought them to SmackDown, kind of explained them a little bit.
And it's true. Like Becky was always there to help people down in NXT. Yeah. Because she's been wrestling since she was 15, 16 years old.
Yeah. And so really like this kind of played to the emotions and played to the emotions of the crowd. And she brought out the social media bits and the haters and how many people she's had to block, all the people she's had to block and everything like that. So this really kind of developed the whole storyline. So this is my problem was we did call this and we did say Charlotte was going to come out at some point. So at some point you see your boy's music player, right?
But no, you were going to see Carmella and Becky embrace, shake hands, embrace, hug, whatever.
Yeah, until the music hit. James Ellsworth.
So Renee Young, Becky goes forward.
Renee Young bounced out.
Then Carmella goes backwards.
Hits her with the belt.
James Ellsworth's music hits.
Boom.
Boom.
And then she's gonna gets the folding chair, brings it back in. She's gonna DDT Becky, but then Charlotte's music hits. She runs out, gives her the
Charlotte's
big boot.
been out for surgery and other stuff she's been promoting.
So we thought, they're probably going to bring her back in somehow. So they haven't said that it's a triple threat match.
Well, it's also that to be fair to Charlotte, they haven't really paid off her and Carmella's angle from the night after WrestleMania.
And I'm sure that's going to come up in a promo, right, at some point. So if that does come into play, and they're going to, kind of rekindle that storyline, I should say. This, to me, that kind of hinders everything the momentum that Becky's gone
and Carmella's been working with.
Yeah. Because I really wanted to see just the 2 of them and to see Becky get the fair shake, right? And one-on-one to win the belt, boom, and then to go into Evolution as the women's champ.
And I think Carmella said, I do get a lot of haters. Like she even said it, I'm not the best wrestler in the world, but I try every day. Like I work so hard. Like I'm in the ring. I go to Orlando to practice or gain more knowledge. I work out every day.
Well, one would hope Sarah Del Rey's down there. So she's one of the best.
But Carmella's like she's proven herself. She gets better every time she's in the ring. She's having great matches with Asuka and Charlotte. Well, Charlotte she didn't really have a match with, but you know what I'm saying. Like she's improving herself. And she'll put the work in.
Yeah,
but
so this will be interesting where it goes.
Yeah,
Okay, and we figure it probably will end up being a triple threat.
Yeah, Becky either beating Charlotte or Charlotte beating Becky. Then we'll get the payoff at Evolution later. Yeah, but I think Carmella. This also helps Carmella in the future too, where if she doesn't get beat, she could say I was never beat by Charlotte or or whatever, Becky.
Yeah, because you could do a triple threat match. You could have Becky have Charlotte tap out, or have her take the pin, and then you could say, Carmella could say that I never got pinned.
Yeah, Mella's bunny, blah, blah, blah.
All that stuff.
And Asuka's been out recently, so I don't know what's going to happen with Asuka next.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for Asuka. But yeah, this storyline's been very good. So we'll see. Like, I hopefully, with the addition of Charlotte in this storyline, it won't diminish what Becky's really kind of built going into this, because she really is a fighter. She has the crowd behind her. We do really want to see her win the belt.
And at the end of the night, we see, as we said, Carmella did tap out to the figure 8.
Mm-hmm.
But you saw Becky at the end of the clip of the show looking at the monitor, and it's basically like, it's
kind of like, all right,
okay,
so
this again.
Yeah, here we go. And then, you can always play to that, right? Because I feel like the 4 horsewomen, sometimes there was headbutting, right? A clash of egos. Mm-hmm. Like, you held me back.
Sasha and Charlotte, we saw that with the Hell in the Cell. Mm-hmm. First women's Hell in the Cell. Yeah. And then Becky and Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course,
Becky
you saw
and
that
Sasha.
with Bayley as well.
Yeah. Not Becky and Sasha. Bayley and Sasha.
Because and the whole thing there was like, oh, well, we could totally beat Becky.
And a couple of years ago, was Charlotte.
Bayley.
Charlotte Bayley. Not Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky in Dallas for the Triple Threat Championship on Raw. So there's plenty of storylines there. Yeah,
they can always go back to the history on that if that's the way they want to go. But that was definitely the highlight of
and you could also be like, Becky had to work. Charlotte, you were handed the golden goose.
And we saw that. In a Sasha and Charlotte storyline. We saw that.
Yeah, but there's plenty of storylines to go around. But also on SmackDown this week, as we said, the tag team division is getting shaken up a little bit. Bludgeon Brothers still champions. AJ was off this week. What else happened? Daniel Bryan Miz. Let's get to that. We didn't get really to that.
Yeah, so this is really kind of the last thing to cover on SmackDown, and it was interesting. I saw the promo between the guys, and it's been good. I've always hoped
those two are so good to get
from that talking smack issue, and I really thought,
when back in the day in the NXT,
and I thought, when Bryan comes back, this would be great, but then they didn't do that, so now they're doing. Of course, they've done that, developed that. I think the only part of the promo that really bothered me a lot was the babies, on the video screen.
Yeah, I didn't really watch the whole thing. I watched the main clip of them.
And I saw it, and I was just like, this totally ruins everything, and it really felt like after that, the crowd was super flat for the Miz. They had no reaction towards him.
And he wasn't there.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
He was either backstage or he was somewhere else.
Yeah, he was cutting the promo on the Titantron.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for this, they were there for Bryan because Bryan was in the ring, so they were there kind of cheering thing too, because Bryan really can adapt and work with anything. And I totally got everything that Miz said, and I really definitely felt he's really good at firing off at Bryan about all this.
But when Daniel fired back at him, you're not even John Cena.
Yeah,
that promo at the Rock, the movie star.
And this is cool too, because I've seen Bryan work as a heel. I've
actually never seen him as a heel.
He's been fantastic. Ring of Honor had some really great heel work with him.
Great heel?
Yeah, one of my favorite matches was probably him and Alex Shelley in Ring of Honor, and that's when Daniel Bryan had his hair shaved.
Yeah.
And so he was coming out, he's just getting in people's faces, yelling at people. He always did the till 5, so he put you in a submission, and you'd be, positioned to the point where you could reach out for the ropes. Yeah. You'd grab the ropes, and then he'd get in the ref's face, I have till 5, and he'd hold his hand up like that. And and that match was amazing because no one knew who to cheer for because Alex Shelley was playing a heel at the time. Yeah. He was with the Embassy, and Bryan Danielson was he was a heel on his own.
Yeah.
So it was who do we cheer for? The crowd was so split, and it was such a great match because both of those guys were great technicians. But yeah, I suggest watching some of his Ring of Honor work.
But the Miz has been basically a heel his whole career in the WWE.
Yes, and for the most part, yes.
He's one of those guys when you say, is he underrated? He's put the work in.
I would say
Carmella.
I would say
Carmella's
very much so.
He's put the work in. Mm-hmm. When he first came up, we could know he could ut a promo from the real world. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's pretty good at it. That's naturally he can do that.
Oh
he can be that way. But he put the work in.
Mm-hmm.
He went to developmental. I don't know if he did. I think he did go to developmental for a while, but he put the work in.
Miz doesn't text me back, so I don't know.
But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's a guy that's okay. Hey, I came from the outside world, but I actually wanted to do this my whole life. This is what I want to do for.
That's
a career.
the crazy thing. Miz is really just being the Miz. Like he was in the real world.
Yeah,
it's just being himself.
But he's actually a good wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're seeing.
I agree with that. He's totally underrated. Very much in the Ziggler kind of category, I would say.
Because those two came up at the same time
I wouldn't
together.
mind seeing another kind of run with him and Ziggler.
Yeah. Ziggler's okay babyface. He can do it, but better
not
heel.
not as much as he used to because he had like AJ Lee and Big E.
But that sets up. Yeah.
Really,
what's the Miz like after this feud? But how long do they last this for?
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting with both guys once.
I'd love to see him versus Joe or him versus.
Well,
AJ.
I'd love to. Well, I'd really love to see Brian Daniel go back
against Samoa Joe.
Against Joe and AJ, or somehow. See, I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen AJ or Brian do that, or I haven't seen Joe or Brian. So once their program's
or
finished,
AJ versus the Miz, that'd be good.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah,
but I think for the Miz, I think with what the Miz is doing, like he's doing other TV shows and stuff, he may be kind of slowly weaning himself towards that direction and not
towards
so much
Cenoville.
Yeah, and not so much for
He's
wrestling.
been working for a while, yeah.
Yeah, and
Miz.
and he
just had a daughter.
And it's okay.
Yeah,
I mean he's got other stuff in the pipeline, so
wants to do movies.
So if Brian wins, that's okay.
And then there's the rumor that The Rock wants to come back. So who's The Rock going to work? That's for WrestleMania 35.
Well, I mean, ideally, there's so many possibilities.
And Cena always comes back at WrestleMania.
It depends on where Rock goes, right? If he goes to Raw or SmackDown.
See, that's why I'm thinking SmackDown 1000's coming up. So
if Rock goes to SmackDown, I'd love to see Rock and AJ.
You're the phenomenal one. I'm the phenomenal one.
Yeah, the people's
champion.
Champ, yeah.
AJ, that'd be good promo.
That would be. And it's great because they're both.
And The Rock is a fan of wrestling, so he watches it still.
Mm-hmm.
Like he keeps up with the product because it's a family lineage, but he does know who AJ Styles is.
Oh yeah, and if he didn't know, he's about to know if that happens. But yeah, it would be cool to see him work a program with that. That would ideally be the dream match.
That's why I bring it up, because SmackDown 1000 is approaching. So
and when is SmackDown 1000?
I think on October soon. It's upcoming. It's very soon, but it's Rock's show. He named it.
It is his show.
He has to come back.
He's laying the SmackDown.
I think he does have to come back for that.
I think so. I think it would be a good way to reintroduce, Rock again.
Plus, he gets bored after not doing them. Like he has these movies set in advance, but when there's no movies, he really wants to do something. Yeah. So wrestling kind of fits the void.
Yeah. So, and then of course NXT, we kind of looked at a few key things. You were telling me about Aleister Black,
which that guy's so good.
Yeah.
Like, you're
a big Aleister Black guy.
Well, I watched him versus a couple of people. I watched him. Who was it in New Orleans? He faced for the championship. Was it Cien? Yeah, it was Cien. But Aleister, and I've heard an interview he did with Edge and Christian before. He's a very smart guy. He gets the business. Yeah. He was one of the European wrestlers. He's been wrestling and working for a long time since he was a teenager. He's very good. And, he can cut a promo, but that dark side of him, don't mess with him. It's kind of like that Finn Balor thing. Mm-hmm. But I as people don't know, the new champion is Ciampa, who's the ultimate heel right now.
Yeah, he's doing work.
But
doing his thing.
The baby face of all of this is Johnny Gargano. Mm-hmm. But last night on NXT, the taping, or I don't know if it was taping or live, Aleister went out, instead of challenging Ciampa, challenged basically the other guy, part of the triple threat match, Johnny Gargano, and basically says,
and he got booed to the
Johnny
moon.
got booed.
He got booed to the moon, right?
Johnny, oh man, I think the fans are all about Ciampa right now, to be honest, but they're not on the Johnny wrestling love anymore. But I think this is going to be a great match between all three of them, because they all can work, and this can set up somebody going up the roster, or it could set up something else. I don't know, but it's a great.
Well, and you saw that too with the three guys in there after the champ kind of addressed the crowd, as he's getting the heat, and then Gargano interrupts him and things like that, and then you have Aleister Black popping Gargano with Black Mass.
Yeah.
So
which is a great finish.
Yeah, this is pretty well when he hits it. I've seen one where he whiffed it
Me too.
What's his name? Your boy. What's his name? The big guy.
Mars.
Lars.
Oh
Lars?
It wasn't fair to them. That guy's huge.
Yeah, I was like, oh, he whiffed it.
It could have been Lars' fault. It's not my boy though, by the way.
Yeah, but yeah, I think this is great. This kind of sets up. It gives you a little bit more oomph into the. Where we're going with the triple threat that's coming in August. And of course, EC3, your buddy.
Ethan Carter III.
Ethan Carter, he's going against, he was kind of, had like a couple encounters with this guy, Kona Reeves, right?
I think so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they finally fought the other night. And so they kind of had the back and forth. And, of course, Velveteen comes out on the ramp.
Is Velveteen a heel or a babyface? I don't even know.
Interesting.
Tweener?
Huh? Not really sure. It might be a tweener, huh?
Yeah.
Not sure.
People love him or hate him.
Yeah, so it could go any way, but he kind of showed up as their match was kind of going. EC3 kind of got a little distracted. He got put in the move, one of Reeves' moves, and then they kind of went back and forth, and then EC3 did his move, and that was it. That's a wrap. So. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I guess is this setting up something for EC3 and Velveteen's thing? They didn't really do too much, but yeah, this is coming up. This is Brooklyn.
2 weeks away.
Brooklyn 4, yeah.
The 18th.
18th, August 18th.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is good. I think this is everybody loves EC3, right? He's getting like the NX3 kind of chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of NXT or NX3. So that's cool.
He'll be a future champion of NXT.
Yeah, so Dream, Velveteen Dream, I think mainly kind of going towards the heel route. Obviously, Ricochet was the favorite, in that storyline. So we're kind of seeing the same things happen here. We'll see what happens. I think this is a good way to get EC3 over.
Yeah, people know who he is. Mm-hmm. The NXT crowd knows who he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll see. It should be a good match. I mean, that card is stacked. We talked about that last week, how great this card looks. And then we also had Candice LeRae versus Shayna. Yeah, you
want to bring this up though, huh?
I love bringing this up because
you have something about Candice LeRae.
Yeah,
I
think Candice LeRae is fantastic, but you keep talking about how like the Becky Lynch is the queen of baby faces, but I honestly think that we've got Kairi Sane, who's like the huge baby face, like super over. Anyways, friend of Candice LeRae's, so they teamed up in Candice LeRae's hometown a couple weeks ago.
Riverside.
Yeah, Cali. Riverside. Boom. So they had a good match there. They stuck it out and won it. So then Candice LeRae goes against Shayna this week. And I've always thought, like, ever since that whole storyline with, Gargano and, and I thought that was great to involve Candice in that. And then they kind of had the extra.
Yeah, she could take a bump.
Yeah, she took a bump and they'd had the extra, promos with her. And I was like, oh, this is really good for storytelling, obviously. And it helped elevate even Gargano further.
Johnny Wrestling.
Yep, Johnny Wrestling. So now that she's kind of out of the picture in that, I feel like
she's been out of the loop for a while.
Yeah, I feel like they don't know what to do with Candice, and it sucks because she's such a great babyface wrestler, right?
Well, also does this is the factor it trickles down because Shayna's kind of still learning from the MMA world, but
still dominating over there.
She's the powerhouse. She's like that different type of wrestler, but. The other girls work I'm not saying Shayna doesn't know how to work. She does know how to work, but it's a different style. I'm just saying they're trying to mesh the styles all together.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean you kind of see similar things here. You see Baszler still working the arm, doing the villain kind of or the heel kind of work.
Then you have other people like Lacey Evans and Candice LeRae, and they're all where do we put them? Because they're all basically the same kind of people.
So there's a lot of things going on with the women's division.
And we only have an hour of NXT taping to put so many people on TV.
Yeah. So of course, obviously, the more overpowering is Baszler versus LeRae in this match. So, Candice obviously the quicker of the two.
Yeah, I know. We have a while till Evolution, but do you think Shayna still is the champion of NXT, or does she get called up by then?
No, she's not. I don't. Yeah. Well, because I'm a super
I know
fanboy for Kairi. So yeah, I'll tell you that.
Well, of course, Kairi and her work at Evolution, or is it Kairi and somebody else?
Well, that's the thing too. Is
what do they do with Shayna?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
And so I don't think she's ready to go up yet.
Yeah. So and of course. Candice LeRae lost in NXT the other night, so Shayna was gonna put her in another submission move again. Of course, Kairi comes to make the save because Candice is her friend. So of course, Kairi is rocking the leather jacket. Like we're seeing like a different, more aggressive. I mean, she's always kind of aggressive, but now it's like Shayna's pushing the buttons, right?
And we have Lacey Evans cutting good promos too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
obviously this sets up for the match we're gonna see Kairi and Shayna. You know, we're actually going to see them wrestle. So
can we see somebody get involved too? Maybe Candice LeRae or...
Well, and that's the thing is that because we see...
Candice Turnhill?
I don't think so. I think Shayna, because she's such the bully, right? She stomped the competition, right? She's...
beat Nikki Cross.
Yeah, she obliterated Nikki Cross. She beat up Dakota Kai. Mm-hmm. She's just stomped everyone in her opposition. I don't know. I don't think her and Lacey have fought yet. That's the only one I could think of.
Who's going to stop her?
So, I mean, but we know that she hasn't really had a match since the Mae Young Classic with Kairi, which Kairi beat her. So that's kind of the mind games that they're playing right now, back and forth. So if there is a title change, we'll see Kairi probably at Evolution defending the belt against who? That'd be a good question.
Yeah.
Because now we can kind of shift into the Mae Young Classic as we kind of wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
That we've got, like, you know, more people announced. And, of course, the big one you mentioned a couple of days ago.
Former TNA legend
Madison Rayne is entering in. So, and this is cool because we have about 28 out of the 32. So we're almost done. The card is almost set.
Well, you have Madison. She'll probably get a contract in the future, NXT or something like that.
I think so. I mean, you know,
Caitlin's going to come back. No,
yeah, we know Caitlin's coming back, so it's going to be a great return for her too. And of course, they announced
put a couple of these veterans in NXT and helps bring the roster.
Yeah. So you have like three more added to the Mae Young Classic, which we had Ariel Monroe, which is you know, she was trained for with Cedric Alexander, which we haven't really seen.
205 Live.
Yeah, we haven't really seen too much.
That's a weird thing. We need to talk about in the future is 205 Live.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really promote it that much anymore.
They don't, and I don't really know what's
because there's reports that they scrap it and because it's maybe costing a little much money.
Yeah.
I think they tape it right before SmackDown or right after. I forget.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you have Vanessa Craven from, I believe she was a Shimmer you know, that women's, I would say, organization. Mm-hmm. So they're bringing her over. And, of course, you've got Hiroyo Matsumoto. She's a powerhouse from Japan. This is great. I mean, if you want to see really diverse wrestling styles in women's wrestling, the Mae Young Classic is the thing to watch.
And they should be taping it later this month, I believe.
Mm-hmm. If it's
in
not
Orlando.
If it's not being taped later this month, September.
Because they have to get it by October because they have to have the finalists for the Evolution.
Yeah, because you're gonna have a finalist for the women's pay-per-view Evolution. So no, this is great. It's awesome because I feel like that Mae Young Classic will catapult right into Evolution, which I'm sure that's what they want. And
that brings up something also that we talked about. Who's going to be the part of the Evolution broadcast team? Because
we've talked about that, and you kind of said that Beth Phoenix.
I think Beth wants to work that Evolution.
Oh, you think she's going to work it?
That's a rumor that she was on Edge and Christian's podcast last week. Of course, you know she's married to Edge.
Yeah,
but I think we saw her at the Royal Rumble, but she's been doing commentary also. She did the mixed match challenge as a commentator with Michael Cole.
Yeah,
but it gives you to think what are the surprises going to be on the card for that, because they've only announced really 4 slots of what's going to happen. Mae Young Classic final. Or is it semifinals or final too? Finals.
Yeah.
NXT Championship, SmackDown, Raw. Where else are they gonna? You still have Trish Stratus probably wants to be part of this. I don't know if Lita, how much she can work anymore.
Yeah.
Mickie James is gonna probably be part of this. You have so many people from the past that might be part of this. So
yeah, Molly Holly
probably, but who is gonna be part of the commentary team? Because who's going to give the woman's perspective? Stephanie, but we've heard rumors that Stephanie might work it.
Yeah, so. I mean, I'd really, honestly, you know, if Renee Young's a part of it, I'm sure she's going to be the interviewer.
Yeah.
But they do have another girl that's really good in the back as well. But I really...
Kathy Kelly's good too.
Yeah, Kathy Kelly.
Alundra Blaze is on the commentary team.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I think that's where it's going to be...
Ivory.
I think Ivory would do really well
as color commentator.
As color commentator,
Yeah.
if not coming back to be a part of it.
They need somebody. Graves will probably work it because Corey does everything.
Yeah, but I mean,
they need like a female perspective.
If you're going all women's evolution, you might as well just
go all women's broadcast team,
which
I think Michael Cole and Triple H would be happy with because they
I
want diversity.
I think that'd be great. I think you definitely have it, and of course, there's 50 women involved in this pay-per-view. So,
and there's people outside the company too that they need to involve. So,
yeah, we'll see how it turns up. But obviously, it'll kind of slowly roll out. The other thing, briefly, just to touch on is. You had mentioned All In made some quick announcements. We got Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis in a title match, right?
Yeah, the NXT Women's or not NXT NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Sorry,
so I think this is great. They've definitely, of course, we were talking about this because they've teased a few things and there was only so many matches, but now we're getting the matches rolling out, right?
Yeah, and I think this is going to be a great card. This probably has to be the main event because it's the world champion, the
MWA championships on the line, and of course the other one. And we saw it teased in one of the Being the Elites, where the Young Bucks were trying to figure out who they were going to face. Boom! The announcement was made. Young Bucks and Kota Ibushi are going to go against Rey Mysterio, Rey Fenix, and Bandito.
And we've seen this for a while. Rey's out there. He's a free agent.
Yeah, Rey's out there as a free agent. I think this is fantastic. He's
still part of the WWE family, but they don't know what to do with him yet. So
this is good, and we've never seen the Mysterio go against the Bucks before.
No, so it's going to be fun to watch. So it's going to be fun. And Ben, this episode went by fast again.
It sure did.
A lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of stuff. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the show. You know what we cover. Hopefully let us know if you want us to cover something else in the wrestling world.
Maybe we'll get somebody to talk about Brock returning to MMA soon.
That's right. Maybe we can have a special guest call in for MMA, or maybe we can have a special guest come in and kind of share their thoughts about something.
It's been fun as always.
Mr. Dustin.
Any predictions before we go about you're looking forward to next week on Raw or SmackDown before we talk again?
I would like to see. Hopefully, we'll see more development with the Charlotte and Becky angle.
Paul and Brock too.
Yeah, I think so. Really, I watch more on the SmackDown NXT side.
Yeah.
Not much Raw.
Raw's entertainment.
I leave Raw to you.
Oh, wow, thanks. Well, Ben, you've been watching from ringside, and
yeah.
What?
What? Yeah.
We'll catch you guys all next week right here on Watching from Ringside on KXVS, The Voice of Stockton. Until next time, what?